soccer game happened. There's a soccer game happened. Tamam? And that soccer game, I am filming the soccer game. Am I influencing the actions?
No.
No, I'm not. I'm filming. Tamam? I am filming the soccer game. طيب? I'm not influencing the actions. Now there's a video of the soccer game after the game is done. That video, for me as a human being, I'm limited by time. So I can only watch it after the soccer game. Does that make sense? But for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He's not limited. He's not limited by time. So He can access that knowledge of what will happen before it happened, as we access knowledge of an event after it happened.
So you're saying He did not influence it at all?
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sets in motion certain things,
Yeah.
and gives us certain choices to make. There are certain things that of course He sets in motion. Like I mentioned, there are sunan kawniyya. It's not like He's, khalas, I created the world and hands off. There is intervention, but that does not impact our agency. There's always divine presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through His knowledge and awareness. Tamam? So don't misunderstand. The analogy is just there to get us to think about qadar, yeah, as like a way to humanize it to us in a way that makes sense. But at the end of the day, we have agency and choice. And that is why we're held accountable, punished, or rewarded. So you can't blame. And this all connects with the problem of evil. People have, and this could be, subhanAllah, a whole long discussion. And I see your hand. I'll come to you in a second, inshallah. It connects with the whole idea of the problem of evil. People are getting like, I don't believe in God anymore because all these bad things happen. Well, pause for a second. Why do bad things happen? Why do bad things happen? Who does the bad things? And what do they talk about? Generally speaking, what do they talk about? They talk about wars. I don't believe in God because all these wars that were done. How could God, sit there and watch all these hungry people die and watch all this hopelessness and all these social issues? I'm like, what did you just call them? Social issues. Oh wow. So social issues like war. Did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say, Habibi, go fight? Of course, that's not how we speak to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mandate for you to go and kill? Imagine there are places in the world where you can ship Coke, like the drink, Coca-Cola, for under like 10 cents. But water will cost over $1 to ship. Are those things influenced by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Or did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us agency? إِنِّي جَاعِلُ فِي الْأَرْضِ خَلِيفَةً. Right? I've given you the authority over the earth to make these decisions. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us these decisions to make so that we're held accountable. So wars are created by people, wars can be solved by people, and people sit aside and do nothing while wars happen. So we're willing to fight for freedom. We're willing to die for freedom. But the minute bad things happen, we want Allah to take our freedom away and intervene. And that's why the problem of evil is illogical. It's like, I'm willing to die for my freedom. No one controls me. Da, da, da. But the minute bad things happen, like, hey, why didn't you do anything? Well, if you want Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to come in and intervene every time, then you have no choice. Then how are you going to be rewarded and punished? Right? Makes no sense. So we have free will on the ground in making those decisions. Yes, there are constants that Allah has set in motion. Allah may have allowed you genetically to be predisposed to certain things. That's part of His Sunnah al-Kawniyya. Right? You're genetically predisposed to certain things. That becomes a part of your challenge. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Hakim, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is wise. And Allah tells us in the Quran, لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا ما أتاها and لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not obligate upon you more than what you can abundantly handle. He didn't say لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا جهدها. He said لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها, as Ibn Abbas says. Meaning you can handle it with abundance. And then لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا ما أتاها. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not ask you for more than what you have around you as resources to cope. So wherever you are, whatever you're born with, you're born with a pre-inclination to something, you're born with a predisposition to something, you're born with not enough wealth, you're born with this and this and that. Whatever you have around you, you have the resources to cope and the strength within you to overcome. Tamam? You're going to say something.
So one of the common questions raised by atheists that I've come across is, if God knows everything in the future, who's going to go to heaven, who's going to go to hell, why did He even create human beings if He knows they're going to go to hell? Why is God so complex?
Hassan, Your name again? Khalid. Khalid asked the question, good one. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, fine, you've convinced me. Allah knows everything. And He knows it before it happened because He's not bound by time. Or He's not limited. He's not limited by time. Or His knowledge is not limited by time. But then what about, now another issue comes up, and that is, if Allah knows everything that's going to happen, why does He, knowing that you're going to go to hell, and knowing you're going to go to Jannah, why does He just allow that to happen? Why does He just sit back? Isn't that evil? Isn't that evil? Right? That's the question pretty much, right?
Why did He even create you?
Why do you, like, what's the point of the whole thing if you
All
already
right.
knew everything?
Right. Or why did He create me? Right. Tamam. So those are like two kind of manifestations of the same question. Number one. And I'm gonna begin with the question, tamam, from a different perspective. Let's say we put Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala aside. We put Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala aside. What's the alternative? The person who asks that question, usually they're going to believe what? They're going to believe in evolution or Darwinism, or basically everything just came to chance. Let's just be, statistically speaking, that question is going to come from someone who has that kind of background. And then you can begin with saying, well, what is the purpose of evolution? Evolution is blind. There is no purpose. So you're willing to accept that your entire life here has no purpose. But then when we talk about Allah, and you're okay with that, but then when we talk about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that is at least somewhat logical, based on the first conversation that we had last time, you're then willing to see, the question that comes like, well, what is the purpose? Well, you mean life has no purpose, so why do you have to then in this question ask, what is the purpose? Well, because no, you believe in God, so there must be a purpose with Him, behind creating us, or else you're agreeing that He's doing things blindly. Like, no, you're trying to understand a divine being with your human limitations. So what do people assume? Oh, was He bored? Is that why He created us? Did He have nothing better to do? Is that why He made us? Is He just like trying to amuse Himself? Or He doesn't know what's going to happen? Is that why? You're trying to superimpose human motivations upon a divine motivation, upon a divine being. You're trying to understand divine will or divine purpose through a human that is limited and a mind that is very limited. Does that make sense? Like, imagine you ask a little baby, or ask a kid, or ask a teenager, why did you do that? Oh, I don't know. You can't even understand your own motivations. How then do you want to understand the motivations of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? There's a gap there. There's a limitation there that has to be recognized. And that is why I always have to bring it back to this. Bring it back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, يَخْلُقُ مَا يَشَاءُ وَيَخْتَارُ مَا كَانَ لَهُ الْخِيَارُ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala creates what He wills, whatever He decides, and He does whatever He decides. And there are certain things that we'll never be able to understand. Perhaps one of them could be the true, full, holistic reason behind our creation. Then we come and open the Quran. So, first of all, and you have to be very clear with this. You have to understand that there's no way to access the unseen, like the purpose behind our creation, except through what the Creator Himself says. Does that make sense? There's no way that you can access the purpose of our creation just by sitting down and thinking about it yourself, because that you're always going to be limited. So you have to go based on what? You have to go based on what the Creator Himself says, Allah Himself says. And where do you get that? You get that from the Quran or from the Sunnah. And that's where ayat in the Quran come in, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمَا خَلَقَتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. I have created the human and the jinn to worship me. And Ibn Abbas says, meaning to know me. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala creates us so that we can know Him. And through knowing Him and worshiping Him, we know ourselves. We go through a journey of discovery, and a journey where we are able to, subhanAllah, enjoy many, many things within us and around us, and see the purpose, see the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala around us, and work towards being reunited with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you can say that we're created so that we can experience the beauty and the majesty and the power of the creation. And then through that, we know the Creator. Someone like, what's his name? Richard Dawkins will say, I came to realize that there is no purpose. There's no purpose, all blind, it's all chance. But you know what? I'm looking forward to my beautiful meal. I'm looking forward to my next meal. And that keeps me going. So if you're willing to be motivated by a meal that is to come, which is what the alternative can provide on your own as a human being, what about being motivated by the idea that everything around you is speaking to you in a very subtle and beautiful way. And through reflecting and refining yourself and purifying yourself, you can access that code and rise above some of those old limitations that you have in you to get to know something much greater, much bigger than yourself. And access something that's much greater than yourself. I don't know about you, but I think that's a bigger motivation. And then you can also, one second, I'll come to you in a second, you can also access the other ayah, which is إِلَّا مَنْ رَحِمَ اللَّهِ إِلَّا مَنْ رَحِمَ رَبُّكَ وَلِذَلِكَ خَلَقَهُ. So some people say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us so that we can experience His mercy. Right? What does that mean? What does that mean practically? It means that, imagine, there's the beautiful feeling that you have when you have a child. The beautiful feeling you have when you do something beautiful to your mother, to your father. That beautiful intimate moment that you have with someone that is a stranger through an act of kindness that is anonymous. All of these beautiful things in life. Right? And that's why the malaika, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, I am making on this earth a human, like another being, a human being. They said, أَتَجْعَلُ فِيهَا مَنْ يُفْسِدُ فِيهَا وَيَسْفِكُ الدِّمَاءَ وَنَحْنُ نُسَبِّحُ بِحَمْدِكَ وَنُقَدِّسُ لَكَ قَالَ إِنِّي أَعْلَمُ مَا لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. That is the answer. I know that which you don't know. That was Allah's response to the angels. Meaning that there is a higher purpose beyond what we know from the nusus that only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows about. But the idea is this. The idea is this. You can't let that philosophical discussion prevent you from being focused on reality. And the reality is what? The reality is you are here. You're here. You can't avoid that. You're here. Right? Does that make sense? You're here. So rather than asking why, right?
I was born.
Right? Why was I born? Why did He make what's right? Exactly. Rather than worrying about the unseen, worry about that which He already told you to do.
Present.
Right? Worry about what He told you to do. And through that, you come to recognizing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and loving Him and knowing Him in a way that, subhanAllah, no words can quantify. Tamam? So hopefully that makes sense. You have a hand, and you have a hand. I'll come to you because your hand went up first. Okay. Actually, your hand was